Hello and welcome back for our next semifinal matchup, University of Western Ontario versus the reigning champs, UC Irvine. I'm Irving the Biz III, joined by the 1999 National Cornhole Champion, Mark Zimmerman. All right.
I was 8 years old, apparently, when I won that.
Yeah, I
don't know how true that is.
Really good at cornhole. Let's jump right into the starting rosters. On the blue side, it's going to be Western University. That is in top lane, a freshman in the School of Business, Gorica. Jungle, junior in Integrated Sciences, Julius. In mid lane, a third-year studying chemical engineering, Slasher, 1144. Your bot lane is junior in computer engineering, Short Hop. Supported by, enrolled in the medical sciences, currently in his third year of study, Blazed Nova.
And on the red side, it is UC Irvine, hometown favorites. In the top lane, a junior studying computer science, it's Captain Nuke. In the jungle, a third-year philosophy major, I'm Avi. Might want to change that one. Never mind. Mid lane, a junior computer engineering, Descraton. In the bot lane, a business econ sophomore, Youngbin, who is supported by another business econ major in Bloodwater.
They know what they're doing. They're starting a business together at bot lane. UCI came into the quarterfinals with arguably the toughest opponent of the tournament. And now with Columbia vanquished, they seem to be on track to be defending their title of college champions.
Yeah, Youngbin and Bloodwater dominated in their previous series. They were the main focal points, with Descraton and Captain Nuke kind of playing the backseat setup and allowing them to carry. Avi as well had a huge performance on the Talia later on in the series.
Well, UCI was far from flawless. It is hard to assess their opponent, however, Western, based on their quarterfinal series.
Yeah, Michigan State did not really challenge them in that series, and it was a bit of a one-sided affair. The teams do match up very well, though, because Short Hop was the star in that series, so we get to see him versus Youngbin, and they are the last Canadian team in this tournament, so they're looking to bring it back to Canada after UBC, where this is the last team to have it.
Now, Irvine would be very happy to defend that title here. We did see Western going out quite early last year in the state quarterfinals, so now this feels good for them to be able to get way closer to the finals and, like you said, possibly bring it back. UC Irvine, I believe Youngbin on your screen, hands up, happy to be in competition. These guys love it, and that's what they thrive for, really. When they're not in classes, they're like, I want to be competing, I want to be with the team. It feels really good to be a part of this org.
And that's what's so cool about the collegiate scene as a whole, is that there's people with all these different aspirations. Some are just there for that competition, that rush of playing on stage. Some people, this is a middle ground between seeing how well they could potentially do if they go pro full-time while also studying. And there, Avi pumped up, they banned this Talia.
He feels right now. He knows he made an impact in his previous games. See Slasher with a smile on his face. Descraton on the other side of the screen. Those two about to have a pretty explosive matchup, I'm guessing, as they match up quite well in champion pool and play style. Youngbin playing to the crowd a little bit. Everybody is loving it here for this Western versus UC Irvine matchup, and we'll see Heckram and Nico locked out on the ban list from UC Irvine.
Yeah. Definitely pumped up to play today. It is the best of 5 as compared to the previous best of 3, so more time to adapt in the draft. We saw how important that can be. Just in the previous series alone, the mid lane being very important.
Yeah. Few final bans. A Jinx comes out as Youngbin gets a first phase double ban. Very nice. They know a lot of the strength and mentality comes from the bottom. He's like, do you see me? I believe they see me. I'm looking at my bans. Rise getting taken away from Gorica or Slasher there. And we'll see what the first priority pick here is for Western. What kind of composition do they want to put together? Possibly a flex pick.
There's a lot of them up.
Some that can go anywhere. Maybe a jungler first, maybe the Aatrox. They're going to take their time, though. I like this. Running down the clock, figuring it out. And they'll get what they want.
And it's cool to see the different metas, because in the collegiate, it does feel like a little bit less emphasis on those flex picks, though they do still go for the stylist first. There are more counters. It feels like the people are willing to play into them.
The Vladimir taken for Captain Nuke, I'm guessing, in that. So possibly showing a top laner. Descraton can take that Vlad in mid.
It's hard to say. The Aatrox has been flexed between lanes and the jungle, one of the few picks to be doing that. So we'll have to see if that's Avi's champion. The philosophy major joke, just I'm a minor in philosophy, so it's not like I look down on it, but just for the career prospects.
I see. Struggling, Mark?
Yeah, why do you think I'm here, Rip?
Oh, damn. Damn. Oh, because we couldn't make it in those chairs over there. on stage. That's why. 15 seconds on the clock here for Western. They are going to lock in that Akali. Feels good to have a bit of assassination on the team with a good fight from Silas. And what will Slasher lock in here for phase 1? Final pick, Nocturne in the jungle for Julius. Level 6 going to be a big impact here for Ontario.
Yeah, Nocturne has been pretty strong over the course of the tournament. I think this might be the first Akali game we've seen, something that has not been played very often. Does feel like people have not been prioritizing this highly, but it's nice to see maybe the people were just keeping it up their sleeves this whole time. Western was waiting to unveil it here.
Whoa. Without a support, Youngbin says, don't want to get banned out too much more. Give me that Kaisa before we get into the second phase of bans, and they will start to target the ADs towards short hop, so they can't go back and forth in that sense. 15 seconds here to see Coach on screen.
Yeah, we'll have to see what they try and pair with it, as well as what the build path is. Kaisa, this tournament, has been seeing a lot of different build paths, been talking to people about it. With the changes to the Ginsu's Rage Blade, she is not as strong as she was before, and now there seems to be 2 primary builds. The Muramana one, which is seeing some play in solo queue, something I'm not a huge fan of. There's still also the Storm Razor, or potentially the Blade of the Rune King first. We'll have to see what Youngbin ends up going.
Captain Nuke had a pretty rough game on that Rumble when he was focused yesterday by jungle top lane and mid of his opposing team. They still respect it, though, as it is one of his wheelhouse champions. Nautilus taken away from Blaze Nova. We'll figure out what Western has for a final ban here. It could be a mid laner if they feel like Desperton hasn't gotten something. Rise is still... No, Rise actually got taken out. UC Irvine's first ban phase, so easy peasy there.
Yeah, the Rumble ban is interesting.
Yeah.
It is one of Captain Nuke's best champions, so no surprise to see that banned out exactly, but it is not as powerful, especially when you don't know what you're playing into. So, you know, they could easily pick something else in the top lane. Maybe that's the Akali going up there, the Silas that they don't want to play it into. It can be quite potent into the Akali. Oof. But we'll see if it's the Yumi for the second time. Oh!
I was gonna say do it in a best of 5. You have somebody like Aatrox. If Aatrox goes off or if Vlad goes off, you have somebody to chase with. But they are playing it safe. You get Braum down in that bot lane with Kaisa.
I have all these Yumi mechanics to talk about, and last time we saw Yumi, it was this top lane focused game where the camera was never on bot lane. I could barely squeeze the facts in there, and now we don't even get to see it.
You know what? Let's just talk about Yumi this game.
Not even in the game. No, we'll talk about boring old Braum. You know, he's the most picked champion in League of Legends history. In competitive.
Sweet mustache, though.
That's true. Going up against Caitlyn, though, not one of his favorite matchups.
Is he the most picked?
He's the most picked champion in League of Legends in competitive league, yes.
That's crazy.
He's good in every meta. He's just a beefcake frontliner.
He is.
Lock it in, Western. Give me the Yumi to talk
Throw it
about.
up with the Caitlyn safe farming in the bot lane. 7 seconds left for them to pick. They have the possibility to switch. Blaze Nova looking at the Yumi. I mean, you can fly around with a Nocturne. Why did they... Trolls. Morgana locked
Yumi
in.
is actually really good with both Caitlyn and Nocturne, so I thought that was going to be the composition that they were going for. Not the case. Debated again.
That's all right. We got one more pick over here. Mid lane is what I'm guessing. Descraton leaving it up to him. What do they need? They could actually fit anything in here, really.
Yeah, realistically.
Pretty good composition already.
Whole top side of the map is open. You can put them in kind of any lane or jungle.
Jungler now, yeah.
Yeah. So it is actually going to be the Aatrox going into the top lane. Vlad in the mid, most likely. Lee Sin in the jungle.
Avi's feeling good. He wants to make a statement here in this first game. He had a lot of Talia games yesterday. Feeling that ban on Talia from Western, and he says, you know what? Let's Lee Sin. Let's see what we can do on this.
There will be a lot of places he can potentially look. Bot lane, maybe not the option he's going to go for, but both solo laners should be pushing forward and scrapping early and often. So that's exactly what Lee Sin's going to look for in the early game to get involved in those lanes.
Hopefully Descraton feels good about this matchup. Slasher loving champions where he can either be control mage in his matchup, go average, kind of even in lane, and then take control of the game, or champions where he can really set up his jungler to come in and make work of the mid lane. A little bit of both coming in on the Silas, so Slasher should feel good here. Him and Descraton kind of feel like that will be the matchup that they have been waiting for. This event, UCI versus Western, is going to be good overall, but these lanes match up so awesome. I cannot wait to get on the rift.
Yeah, UCI coming in as probably the favorite in the matchup, but a number of people have said that they think Western is underrated, that they're actually very good, and so they will be able to give a pretty tough opponent for UCI to test themselves against.
We like you said, we are going to see that Akali as well towards the top lane. I wonder what's going to happen before 6, if there is quite a bit of aggression coming from this composition, or if they're just going to wait until Nocturne can press R, until Akali can press R, and we see Slasher start stealing ultimates on that Sylas. Western versus UCI, your returning champs, looking to make it back to the finals. The hometown favorites here on the red side to start versus Western Ontario, and we are on the Rift.
Here we go. This is the first Akali game we've seen in collegiate play. It was banned 8 times this tournament. Shouldn't say all of collegiate play, this tournament specifically. This is the first time we're seeing it. So we'll get to see what they have in store. The W did receive a small nerf on 9.9, just a little bit longer cooldown to get to use it, and how long the duration is extended when you pop in and out of the invisibility it provides.
All right, we have a quick sideline report with Avali and Western Ontario.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Coach Leto. This is a big semifinal match for you guys going against UCI, who are the tournament favorite. But behind the scenes, you guys are nothing but smiles and laughter. So are you nervous at all coming into this series?
I mean, there's naturally a little bit of nerves on the guys that are new to the stage, but not nervous about the matchup at all. We've been scrimming all week against Maryville, and they're the best team at the tournament by far. So I think that we have this in the bag as long as they play to our strengths, and just remember to respect their bot lane.
Great to hear. Best of luck to you and the team. Back to you guys.
Smart words. Short Hop being a pivotal opponent for this team as well, along with Blaze Nova, and they know Young Bin and Bloodwater are going to be so difficult.
And I love that just how in the collegiacy people are willing to smack talk. That indirect flame of like, well, we've been playing the best team in the tournament in scrims all weekend long, so who cares about our opponent today?
The slight talk of smackage. That always comes in. See Blaze Nova. Looks like they're keeping it safe here to start things off. Not too many bindings on Bloodwater and Young Bin. They are going to respect that quite a lot. We'll see what the first pressure for jungle is. Avi's going to clear Krugs. May tend to hover up towards top side. Early ward from Gorica is going to keep him safe for now. And expect this to be a pretty quiet early game, all things considered here. Deskerton keep himself healthy. You see Slasher with a quick level 2. Does try to get a bit of an advantage in the lane.
Yeah, that's some of the aggressive trading that we were looking for the Lee Sin to get involved in. Julius on the Nocturne, a lot more focused on farming and getting to 6. So he's going to hope that it's a little bit more timid of an early game until he can start influencing the lanes more often. So see, getting a little low, but just fine on these Raptors.
One more? Oh, that's annoying. Just burn down.
I'm interested to see what happens in the bot lane. Caitlyn, a little bit unexpected in the meta for some people who might not have been watching, but we had LCS Media Day the past couple days here. Some pros and teams and coaches have been in. They've been talking about Caitlyn coming back into the meta with Crit Marksman seeing a little bit more play and some more Enchanter supports. She might become a lot more prevalent in the meta as we continue on.
If you can strike the combo up of net into trap or trap net, you can easily change the lane with just a few shots. And getting attack speed isn't too hard these days with it being pretty cheap. You can just get those headshots stacked up in lane and see this right here. Nice caliber net onto Young Bin and get a little bit of a health advantage in lane for now as they continue to trade. Still a CS lead. Here's Young Bin going aggressive, and they're going to start pushing this wave in.
Yep, Morgana, a pretty common counter into Braum. You have Black Shield to stop the stun from stacking up to kill you. Then Caitlyn just traditionally decent into Braum. Yes, Braum can block a lot of your projectiles, like your ult and your Q, but he does get pushed in pretty frequently, and it's hard for him to find gank setups onto the Caitlyn or anything like that. So for the most part, you'll see them probably trying to just hold on to laning phase. It's nice that they have a CS advantage right now already, but you did see how hard it was for them to find a good trade onto Western's bot lane.
First back for top. Doesn't look like it's going to be a TP back just yet. Where do we expect the first action to be if you were a Lee Sin or you were a Nocturne? Obviously Nocturne farming, but where would you look to find that easiest gank? Not too much crowd control to have in these lanes.
I would have to imagine in the top lane, just the fact that you have 2 melee matchups, both like to scrap early on, both have different tools to survive those, a little bit of mobility, the Shroud, and so if Lee Sin can get in there and find them in the middle of a trade after using some of those cooldowns, it can potentially turn that gank. Even a Nocturne can come flying in there if the Aatrox is too far pushed up. Like, he's a little extended right now.
farms. Gorica should be able to pick these up. Not too much trouble. Nicely prepped as well by the early minions. Cleans them. Makes it look so easy, but it is not. A quick in and out by Slasher. A little out of mana here, but he is going to try to go for a quick all-in onto Desperatan. Just knowing the kind of limits of this champion for himself. Out of Corrupting Cloud, so that could be a back as he clears the wave. And we'll see them start to get back into mid and tussle it out with a few more items. Now the wave pushing back in favor of Short Hop and Blaze Nova. A lot of respect from both lanes being given to each other. Fade away binding going on to Youngbin there with some really nice follow-up damage, and this is going to give him control over the lane. They have to be careful how pushed up they are. They will have protection from Julius and a bit of bot roam.
And I really like what we saw to Short Hop there, actually waiting.
Yeah.
He was waiting on the headshot proc. He could have, Bloodwater puts it up his hold on here. Avi is trying to catch a...
Slasher was roaming.
Yeah, between the turrets. But either way, yeah, it was really nice by Short Hop waiting out the Braum shield to make sure the headshot went onto Youngbin instead of getting absorbed by the Braum shield. That is the kind of expertise on the champion that we're hoping to see and why this bot lane is such a focus in this matchup.
Looks like he tried to get Desperatan behind and in between the turrets, having that flash up, teleported back in the lane and tried to get to Desperatan fast. Now, he TP's back. A little Fiendish Codex for him as he can keep it cool down and heal in lane. Youngbin stays in lane, doesn't want to miss too much of the CS, even though he was pushed back quite far, so he'll be able to pick up a few more. Looks like he's about 5 down. With great pressure coming from Short Hop and Blaze Nova. They have the Morgana and the Caitlyn lane. You got to be putting that pressure on in the beginning. You can't give Kai'Sa an easy lane.
Nope, definitely don't want to. We also see the makings of an early Storm Razor, looks like, for the Kai'Sa. Build I prefer.
It's like a feel bad in lane buy. You're like, yeah, Kerchi's Shard, first item. Still hard to CS.
Yeah, it's definitely not what you want to get on your first back. That's I'm laning against Caitlyn and got forced back much earlier than I wanted to.
It hurts.
So I'll buy this. Whereas in the meantime, Caitlyn shows back up with the VF Sword exactly what she wants on her first item recall timing. We'll have to see if that just continues to be a push lane for Western. It is something that's hard for both teams to get involved in, but big level picked up here now. 6-4. Julius can start influencing some of these lanes a little bit more often.
And Short Hop holding that lane. They may have to get somebody in there to crush it into the turret, because right now it's going to be tough to farm for Youngbin and Bloodwater. Looks like it's evening out quite a bit as they get there, so it actually shouldn't be too hard as we look at it. Captain Nuke taking quite a bit of damage. World Ender goes down as Gorica puts the pressure on. Gorica known in his team from his teammates to be that silent but very, very deadly guy. He can make the plays happen, but you don't really hear too much from him all during the game. You just kind of see, oh, top's dead again.
Yeah, very surprised to see that ultimate out of Captain Nuke. You need to remember that it no longer gives the revive passive without you getting a takedown. So even if he was going to get all into there by Gorica, it wouldn't really do anything to keep him alive that much more other than increasing his healing. So Gorica's able to force that out quite easily, which is nice to see. And is starting to accumulate a bit of a CS lead in that top lane.
Yeah, he's going to feel good. He'll start having a bit of a level advantage. Might be able to get TP'd out as he's getting these waves pushed up in his favor. Everything else is pretty even across the map. Just that 10 CS for Youngbin. Going to do well to hold there, even though being down an item, I should say. Action down towards Dragon. Now it is going to be a first or second Mountain Drake, I should say. Ooh, kick stolen, but not really a setup for Slasher. Looking to go in. Ultimate as well coming out of Julius. I feel like they want the fight here, but they haven't decided what the priority target is. Blaze Nova looks like he could down first. One last auto attack from Youngbin. A lot of hesitation here from Western. It's going to cost them 2 members. A second one going over to Desperatan.
Well played by UCI. They were doing anything they could to start that fight. They had the teleport advantage. Gorica had used his back to lane. Captain Nuke still had his. So even though it wasn't the cleanest of engages, you kind of had Youngbin pulling the trigger himself to ult in and start that fight off. All they needed to do was start that fight off in some way, and they could bring more men to it.
I think Youngbin just shocked Western. They were like, wait, what else is the follow-up? And then with Nocturne going in, they were caught off guard by the teleporter.
And it was pretty gutsy, too, considering the fact that the Nocturne was able to collapse in on him. He didn't have to flash heal out of there, but he pulled his job off correctly. He baited them into that fight, and they get that quick 2-for-0.
A good step up here in the beginning for UCI, a team like, they say like to play towards that late game, but nobody hates the early advantage either. Good vision down after that fight. Allows them to kind of figure out where Julius or the rest of Western may be trying to make something happen to get back into the game. Captain Duke here will start to push a bit of his vision forward as well and clear out any of that utility on the side of Western.
Yep, classic Captain Nuke.
So close.
Playing for the team, gave up his TP, falls a little bit further behind in CS, but it does get Youngbin in the Vladimir that kill. Vladimir down a little bit of CS as well. We saw in the previous game how the matchup can go. Silas versus Vladimir. Descarton has done a little bit better of a job farming up and staying even, but it is still not the most fun matchup.
This is nice. Good push in here. Be easy for Youngbin to farm at the turret. I'm sure he's happy to see that Peacemaker going through the wave. Short hop 89 to 83. Doesn't look like he'll be able to get too much more of that Infinity Edge starting off, but he does have the Zerk Greaves, which helps to stack up that headshot in the lane and keep Youngbin back. Youngbin actually did get his BF sword, so feels good to be able to trade back if necessary. Top side, 98 to 70 as we were checking out that CS just a little bit ago, and we were saying, when will Gorica be able to roam, or will he keep that pressure on Captain Nuke? A player who we saw yesterday getting so much focus, did a very good job of kind of changing his play style to mitigate that and just be someone, as you said, that's there for the team.
Yeah, and Descarton as well, playing a little bit of that team player role yesterday, but has been known to step up. Like we said, last year's finals MVP, and he was playing a fair amount of Vladimir then too as well. So a bit of a signature pick for him here.
Oof. Sanguine Pool, still gonna get feared there for a moment. He's able to get out. Oh, taken down during the ultimate. Julius did not want that to happen. It's not looking good now for Slasher as well. Shield comes out as he gets a bit of distance on this. Avi was not able to make it happen. Figures that they have the advantage in the lane. They'll continue to push it and make sure they can get Dragon as well.
Opposite of the caster curse, we're singing Descarton praises on Vladimir and goes ahead and picks the fight 2v2. Comes out ahead, able to kill the Nocturne midair with some nice play.
There's pressure on the top side as well. World Ender goes down again for Captain Nuke. A Drake going over to UCI, this time the Mountain. So if they can get Gorica to the turret, I'm sorry, actually other way around. I was getting confused there. So 3-0 now. That Mountain Drake's picked up for UCI. They'll be able to take down the turrets a little bit easier. We'll see this in the mid lane once again. A little too sure of himself for clearing the pink ward right in the face of the enemy for Julius.
Yeah, they thought Lee Sin had left and probably gone up to the top side of the jungle to farm. And Vladimir running right at them should have been a tell, but they thought they could win this 2v2. Not actually able to land onto the Vladimir. And the Nocturne still very squishy at this point in the game, so that damage from the Lee Sin putting in work.
He's like, my Q's not up.
Tried to scare him though, see if he would flash.
It was
maybe
about sending a message. That little two-step right next to the turret. So we finished jungled items into Merc Treads for Avi. Looks like he wants to be getting into that fray of Slash or Silas a little bit more, knowing Gorica's going to be putting out some damage. Hasn't been taken down at all in the lane. Remember that World Ender's down from last time of the 1v1 situation. That pays off, and they're going to get quite a bit of damage down onto that to help get the kill.
Yeah, Captain Nuke going on a little bit of a scouting mission there, but did not have any vision. Didn't know that they were rotating their bot lane up to the top side, or that Julius was already in the river. So an easy kill pickup for Western, finally on the board.
Avi plays it smart, knows his right is up. Doesn't want to lose too much otherwise, so they let Rift Herald go. That's going to be in the hands of Julius as they go top side. 3 plates there to grab, 4 in the middle, 5 on the bot. It looks like they're going to get all 3. See how far they push it. They don't have too many forward wards as of yet.
Not going unpunished though. UCI did have Youngbin finish off that turret down the bot lane after that. So a trade of turrets coming out relatively equal, all things considered. And I gotta say, that's probably in UCI's favor a little bit, knowing how good they are in the mid to late game. The fact that this has been a relatively slow game seems to bode well for them.
Easy clear, no damage for Rift Herald on his second. Pretty strong game for UCI to start off here in the early. 2-0 for Descarton. He's feeling good. As we said before, Descarton and Slasher kind of feel they would be the matchups that really are going to give each other trouble after the Michigan State or Michigan University game. I feel like this is all that stood in their way. 6-5 plates. Killer Instinct not able to activate just yet. There we go. Youngbin goes in when they're for sure to get the kill. No turret there. A Slasher comes in a little late. Seems to be the story of the weekend. The teleports are just a few seconds off for the mid laners coming in. They are going to start losing the rest of their team Ace in the hole comes in, but nothing else coming to that kill. 5-3 now as some more kills are picked up here by UCI. They also lose a few themselves.
Yeah, Western actually coming out ahead a little bit on that, I would say, given kills. I think it was a bit of a misplay here by Gorica. It is a tough position to be in, but he does do a really good job of trading damage back, dodging out on that Braum ultimate. Potentially could have used his ult a little earlier to try and find a kill on Obi, but a really nice Nocturne ult splits the fight here. If everyone just ran forward to finish off Slasher 114, maybe UCI cleans this fight up, but people get split. Some dive back onto Julius to try and protect Youngbin. Youngbin still drops. Avi dies for trying to finish off the kill on Slasher in a split fight. The fact that they were able to turn what started as a 1v3 into an even situation, pretty good all things considered.
So now that we're getting to this level, well, past level 6, but more confidence of fighting for each team, whose kind of ball are you putting in whose court here?
I think it depends how the fight goes. Scaling is relatively equal. I think Caitlyn's always a difficult champion to talk about when you talk about scaling. Very strong in the early landing phase. One item, pretty forgettable, and all the way forgettable probably until 3 items when she gets high crit chance and starts popping people with her headshots. So, you know, over the course of the game, who is stronger at different points will swing a fair amount. Western does have really great dive, and so if Nocturne, Akali, and Sylas can instantly blow up Youngbin, well then it doesn't matter what Caitlyn's spike is. So this does feel like one that's a lot more influenced by how the team fight develops more so than inherent scaling, because nobody's really got a front line. This is not a typical front-to-back team fight for either team.
We got Braum for a few. Something like that could be deleted as just as fast though. So we have good ultimates to steal that we haven't really covered yet with World Ender. We saw him steal Lee Sin's ultimate, but that's not going to do him too much unless he's in a great position to use it. I think Hemoplague could be one that's great along with Glacial Fissure. So definitely looking for Vlad and Braum when it comes to Slasher's fights. A few resources being picked up across the map. Still waiting to see if Western can put up the vision to start getting into that kind of dive composition. See Captain Duke has found out. Good patience by Julius to not activate immediately. Calling the team over. World Ender activated for the speed, and it's going to be a ring around the Rosie. Quickly over the wall with the Umbral Dash, and that's going to be possible flashback over the wall. Nice change to keep them in place. Back to the Gromp. Why not? Try and take it. No, I'm just kidding. He's
Fancy
over the wall
here.
once again. Yeah, he's going to try to run around. This is the, hey, team, can you get anything while we're doing this? With Akali mid, I don't know if the pressure's going to be enough, but it looks like Captain Nuke's going to give him a good run around here before he does go down. Into the base, gives him a bit more distance. I don't know if he can dash back his way through. Half on the turret in mid lane. In goes Gorica, throws down the Shroud so he can be safe. Out almost goes Captain Nuke, but he does finally go down to the last headshot, a short hop.
Yeah, unfortunate there. Captain Nuke almost pulled the full ring around the Rosie off.
I like it.
And unfortunately, UCI did not really convert that into too much. They did grab a Mountain Drake, I believe it was, during that. Got some damage onto the turret, but got over Zealous, and Bobby lost his flash there.
There's a whole lot of nobody knew what was kind of going on for a moment. There was too much chase onto Captain Nuke, and they figured out we should stop chasing. At the same time, UCI actually wanted to get that push on mid. So a bit of a stalemate here, 18 minutes in until we get the next objective up on the map. It is Ocean and Mountain over to UCI, so if they do particularly want to hang out, they can get that kind of utility from the Ocean Drake up, especially for Vlad. Descraton is loving that. Now with UCI back on the map, we'll see what their next decision is. Spot lane's being pushed in by Gorica. He's been having definitely a great game. We have not seen him pop off yet. Like we said, no front lines here, so if you can get him on a few squishy people, it really changes the fight as Slasher and Short Hop get their shots in.
Yeah, there's not too many major objectives to play around for the next couple of minutes. Baron not on the map. And even if it does show up, you know, it's going to be hard for either team to take right away. So with the Nocturne's ult coming available, he's probably going to look to shadow one of these side lane split pushers. They have both Akali and Sylas good in the 1-3-1. And then the Nocturne tries to collapse into a side lane and finds a kill. Until Descraton's teleport is up, they will probably have a man advantage in any of these plays.
I actually really like Blaze Nova's buy here. Shirelia's Reverie, got to go fast. bringing the team into a situation where he can throw down, not a stopwatch yet, so it's still a little dangerous. Definitely facilitating the movement of the rest of the team as they need to get up with Nocturne and get them to the fight so he's not alone too long.
Yeah, really interesting purchase, and I think it does make a lot of sense. You have 3 members, like you said, who want to dive in, gotta go fast for Akali, Silas, and Nocturne. But then Caitlyn, she wants to go fast the other direction. That's what's great about it. You can run any direction. It's not a righteous glory where you have to go in. So this will help Caitlyn kite out a little bit on top of the Cloud Drake that they already have.
Even sacrificed the boots from Morg on that one. A playmaking situation. Ultimate comes in, near sighted on the bot. Oh, Captain Nuke is just being focused once again. He does not get the chance to play very many games with the focus teams put on him, but he does his damnedest to stay alive and still having a decent lane as he goes down bot. That'll still be pushed by Gorica. Could get a good amount of pressure on that as UCI in the middle of the jungle here, but Youngbin is able to put that pressure on the second tier top lane.
Yeah, safe to say both teams are playing this out correctly. It's hard to know where Julius is going to go. You can assume they're probably going to attack the Aatrox because he has been weaker. So UCI has 2 choices, either try and match that and get a 2v2 under a turret, or just go topside and push a turret of your own. So they do come out behind because Western does get the turret and the kill, but all things considered, not too bad for UCI, and it looks like they might try and transition this into a bit of a Baron.
Oh, Julius is low too. Makes it even tougher, down to about 60% HP. Look for the Dustbringer in. He gets a bit of movement speed now to make that decision. Glacial Fissure goes out, so they're taking a bit of that Baron damage. Remember, it's going to reduce your resistances just a bit. Oh, the transfusion does come in from Deskraton. The teleport there is a big play. Emo Plague down onto Gorica. They can't see him just yet, but the damage will still follow through. He gets the kick away. One last Winter's Bite for the flash. Blast Cone over the wall. Gorica is safe. Avi's going to chase. There is Sonic Wave, and he knocks him down. Youngbin still at Baron, waiting to see if the team's ready to recoup. It looks like they have pushed off Western for this chance. Avi is going to tank, and we're back onto the objective.
Yeah, really well done by UCI. They are such a good mid to late game team. They start the Baron buff off, but there's no hesitation between finishing and turning, and now they might look to actually grab it with Julius dead.
Deskraton using quite a bit to get himself to safety. Hemoplague goes down on only a few members. It's not going to do as much as I think Slasher would have wanted there. A very nice Winter's Bite. Concussive blows onto Sword Hop. He goes down. Baron is taken by UCI, and they are now going to move forward with a few kills in their name. It's going to be mid-turret going down as well, and they are looking good here in game 1.
Yeah, they are so good in the mid to late game team fighting around this Baron buff, but it doesn't look like Western wants to go quietly into the night. 2 TPs coming in.
Whoa, Slasher going in really hard here. Remember, he just used the ultimate. It's about 75% cooled down, so he's not able to get a big impact here other than crowd control for the team to catch up. They want Gorica to get the kills, though. That's what they're looking at, knowing these squishy people are low without the front line. They can get the assassinations in. Will it turn into a turret? I don't believe so. They're pinging on the Ocean Drake.
Western finding something to answer back after a very extended Baron sequence.
Yeah.
Remember, that whole series of plays started with Julius ulting bot lane for a kill. And it ends, it seems like, with Western, the double TP play to grab a kill and an Ocean Drake. You take one Baron off the map, but there's still a pretty good advantage here for UCI.
Good steal on red, a little more kiting for Short Hop, and we will see this one more time. Good pressure from Julius to start, and Slasher as well.
This is a situation where so many other people and teams in Collegiate would probably mess the situation up. They stay on Baron too long, get trapped in the pit, get low and die. Maybe the turnoff isn't that clean, but Youngbin has a really nice ult to dodge out on the Silas stolen Braum ult. They're able to turn off pretty cleanly, find a number of kills, force people low. And once they realize that, hey, the enemy jungler is dead, we can go on to Baron for a second time. They go through that one again, and this time they stay on the Baron correctly, finish it off with the rest of their team playing zoning duty, and get a couple more kills on the tail end of that. Very, very, very impressive macro and micro out of UCI.
Mm-hmm. Still power in numbers here. The buddy system for Western as they walk through their jungle to ward. Julius is going to back, get another item for himself. Keep an eye on the inventory to see what he's bringing to the table. Oh, he stayed. Get a little bit of a harass coming in from Captain Nuke, so he wasn't able to back. Slasher finding Deskraton Avi on the bot. Maybe kick back here. This is the E. Can't get the crowd control, but he does want to kick away Avi if necessary. But I like it. It's not necessarily the ult that Slasher wants at this time. Forced to take it to save himself, though.
Yeah, well done moving from the mid lane to the bot lane. Cuts off the escape. Grabs the turret. Well done by UCI. They still got only 50 seconds left, not as much as I thought, but there's one inner turret left for them to grab. They'll get that now. Probably not going to be able to get an inhibitor on this Baron push, but still have grown themselves a nice little lead.
Yeah. We've seen Barons fizzling out over the course of some of these series as the team will push, lose a few too many members here as a lot of scrapping is going on, but safely played by UCI, waiting for the waves. Good bit of wave clear too by Western, so they're not pushed in as much. And they might be able to get a dive back here at some point. Still have to play it safe, and more than not, just make sure these waves are cleared for now.
And now, even though they might not get the inhibitor turret, they got nothing else to do, so they set up this kind of two-turret siege. There is aggression in the mid lane.
Almost gets the binding. Oh, ultimate quite early coming in from Captain Nuke that says they want to fight. Great damage going on to the members. Whoa. Julius is low, though, as they get into the fight. Descraton coming in from the backside as there's a double kill for Gorica. They drop Julius as he comes back up, and the kills start coming through. Avi falls. Captain Nuke is low as he goes down immediately after, and Descraton is the last one fighting for his life. The Blood Mage can't do it all, and it's a double kill for Slasher on Silas.
Super well done by Western. UCI is split up between the mid and bot lane, and they find Youngbin, the most important backline carry threat. He gets isolated, they dive right onto him, and it just takes too long for Descraton to get involved in this fight, as well as a super clean double execute for Gorica there with his ultimate. Stays alive so long in this fight, actually finds a third kill as well. Actually goes over to Silas, but still, the fact that he could play that Akali in the middle of that fight for so long was super important. And then once Vlad shows up with no one else to kind of set up some CC for him to get onto short hop, there's almost no way that Vlad finds the Caitlyn, and so he's able to get another kill for himself. Still pretty weak, you know, an item and a half for short hop compared to the 3 completed for Youngbin's Kaisa, but he's scaling.
Getting there. Executioner's calling as well. Great buy for Descraton as Morello. It's a bit expensive. They do have one for Slasher, and they have one for Gorica to make sure that Descraton is always being tagged. Captain Nuke is always being tagged to keep that healing down. And in a sense, Avi as well with Lee Sin's fun W. It's not a huge amount, but keeps him alive in those real toe-to-toe situation fights. 27 minutes on the clock. 2 Drakes for each, with a Cloud Drake next. So many Cloud Drakes. It's getting windy. Who's going to get that movement speed? Already one for UWO. That would help their team a lot with the fact that we already said they want to go fast.
Oh, whoa.
Oh, whoa.
Ooh, whoa. Yeah, they don't have too much to do for now, and I think when the Baron comes back up, the biggest thing for them is to make sure they start getting vision out there early. See, UCI has a number of pink wards down. Woo. It's never too early to start contesting that vision. Difficult to do without any significant front line. So it will be hard, but maybe when you have UCI go for Drake, they can find a way in.
Oh, short hop, that was scary. The last shot on the ward could have cost him his life. Blaze Nova, now the last one in there. Not going to get the Winter Spike. Concussive blows, passive, proc. A lot of damage now going over onto Captain Nuke. He goes down. Bloodwater's about to fall as well, and Avi is not looking healthy, but they're now able to turn back onto Slasher. Here comes Gorica. Does he have the ability to assassinate the priority targets? Damage onto Slasher. Crowd control back onto Youngbin. He gets him as he's 10 HP before going down. Gorica not looking healthy. Avi pulls back as it's the death coming in from Descraton. Beautiful job from him, and he is able to stay alive and control these fights with Vladimir this time around.
Yeah, Descraton was absolutely pivotal to winning that fight. He engaged by UCI was flubbed. Short Hop was pelting them with his completed Runan's Hurricane. Woo! But the Vladimir got around the side and was able to finish off that Caitlyn by himself. Otherwise, that could have been a disastrous fight for UCI.
Really shutting down a lot of the members, so they are asking quite a bit from Descraton in these fights, and he is pulling through on Vladimir. We'll see it all here again, because they shut down Captain Nuke quite quick as they were going for short here.
Yeah, I mean, short hop, you see the flashes out of the Braum ultimate and is able to start kiting, landing a lot of damage here, but then the Vladimir ult flank from the side, able to also get the protobelt damage on, gets the entire backline isolated out by himself. Huge play by Descraton. And then by the time Gorica's coming in the backside, the fight's already over. If Descraton did not find that flank and you had Gorica showing up to that backside fight without, you know, a Caitlyn still alive or something, could have been totally different. But with that, UCI is able to grab that mid inhibitor, setting themselves up to potentially win game 1.
UCI, I feel like this competition or this composition looks so good now into Western wanting to dive. So much AoE to take care of everybody in the comp. When you have Caitlyn, who has a Hurricane now, but an AoE Hemo, AoE Kathy and Rain, Captain Nuke, swinging Qs. There is a lot to try and dodge here, and we saw how fast the health bars of UWO went down in that engage.
But it's very important that they find those engages because
It
it
is.
is all relatively low range AoE. This is not an Oriana Shockwave.
Tough to avoid it, yeah.
Yeah, from 1,000 feet away. This is a melee Aatrox AoE. Vladimir pretty much always in melee when he's getting his Tides of Blood off. And then even the Kai'Sa is, sub 600 range
Yeah.
to carry with most of her abilities. So
I think it's really going to help when we get Blaze Nova. He's just off what seems to be grabbing, as I hit the wrong button, the Locket of the Iron Solari. Still actually has a bit to go, about 300 gold, and he should be on that, so he can mitigate quite a bit of that AoE as it comes in and use that Shurelya's to get everybody in a safe spot. There's 3 items now for Short Hop. He does have a bit of a self-shield for himself with the Phantom Dancer now and a stopwatch for even further safety. That Rage Blade is finally built up with the GA, and Youngbin is just looking really big. 30 minutes in.
yeah, Youngbin is a bit of a terror right now. It is not as strong as Kai'Sa would have been before those Ginsu's
right.
nerfs, but still no slouch in the late game team fights, even though we're talking about maybe a 6-8 and Caitlyn being a little bit stronger. Fact is, Youngbin is an item ahead.
Yep. Big items as well for Akali. She looks at Youngbin. You are down. He'll have to use that overdrive quite well.
Uh-oh.
Slasher gets the Killer Instinct down. He gets hit by the Sonic Wave as well. And resoluting that strike is going to be Avi. Nicely done. They head their way to Baron 15 to 14, 31 minutes in. They were able to grab that last Drake for themselves as well. With a mountain on the horizon, the big objective of Baron is in the eyes of UCI. They pull the fight onto Julius. They get the flash from him with Black Shield from Blaze Nova. And now it's just the cat and mouse game of who can get the best engage. Do you want the engage? And how well can UCI yo-yo Western back and forth through this Baron. Bot lane fight going on between Gorica and Captain Nuke. Looks like Cat Gorica not doing too well in the HP as we now have a fight down towards up towards the blue buff here. Slowly coming out, keeping eyes on to Descraton, and they kind of wait to see if they can take him down. It seems like UWO was almost in a false sense of security there when they just should have run from the fight.
Yeah, well, really great vision control by UCI. The first time baiting out Julius's flash. Next time, the flank coming in from Descraton. They don't even need the Baron buff to end the game. They're so clean around it.
Really spreading out the map so well. UWO not able to find their engages, but UCI says, we know exactly what we want to do. Slasher trying to put the last bit of damage down as well with Julius, but it's not going to work. Gorica throws out the blades, but he's going to have to sheath them for this game. Game 1 going over to UCI as they come out with a 32.5-minute win.
The kills were back and forth in the early and mid game, but it was always UCI making the better play around the map and around the objectives. And so out of nowhere, they closed this game out super fast around the second Baron.
It's definitely the difference of viewing a team engaging, setting the pace of the game, and then you get a good fight from the team defending. A good tough fight from the team defending. They're doing great defending, but they're never the one engaging and then using that advantage. So you're right, it's hard to come back. You're always at a pace where you're trying to get the game in your favor.
Yeah, and I think this is exactly why people are UCI is probably the favorites of the tournament, is they're so good in the mid to late games. Just how clean they were around the Baron, starting it up, turning off, getting a pick, starting it up, this time finishing it, then getting the picks.
Yep.
And then the third time they're at the Baron there, baiting multiple times, getting multiple flashes after killing the mid laner, not tunneling on just grabbing a Baron.
And Descraton stepping up as well. A lot of pressure going towards him. Actually, not a lot of pressure, but if there was, he was absorbing it in the mid lane, and it was slight pressure after that because they needed to find things across the map. Julius engages a little early when they hit 6. I think they may have gone a little too hard and gotten themselves in trouble with going towards the bot lane where they didn't yet quite have an advantage. For more on how that game went for Game 1 win over to UCI, let's send it over to the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you so much, Rib. Welcome back to the State Farm Analyst Desk. We have activated our musical chairs and are welcoming Clutch Gaming Academy coach Doyle and Alberto Crumbs Rengifo. How are you both doing?
Fantastic. Happy to be back. Ready for some good games like this one.
Yeah, we got to see Akali and Silas in the same team. Ali Sin that was popping off. So really high level play. I think that these guys' draft tends to resemble more of the professional scene than most of the collegiate games that we've had so far. And so it's easier for us to dive into it and look at the nitty gritty as to why it worked or why it didn't.
Absolutely. And with the Silas and the Akali taken from Western and the Caitlin Morgana basically counterpicking the Braum and the Kaisa, I think this is about as good as it could have gone for Western. They essentially have 3 pushing lanes, a Nocturne that just wants to scale, and they were in a great spot at 10 minutes. Nocturne's up CS, Lee Sin didn't make anything happen, and for me, I felt like they were in a great position this game. They just didn't really, do quite enough in the mid game to actually hammer it home.
Well, and that's the thing. There was that back and forth. We saw great moments for that particular draft, but what was it from the draft from the opposite side that maybe disrupted that a bit for Western?
I mean, I think that Western just was not very confident in the limits of their champion pool, not so much what UCI was bringing to the table. We had a play in the bottom lane at level 13 where Akali and Nocturne dive the Aatrox 100-0 under the tower. You could do that very early on. The Aatrox changes make it so that if he doesn't get the assist, he's not getting that reset on his heals. He's very easy to kill at that stage because he's only building damage. So with Nocturne and Akali, they could have addressed that lane a lot sooner and go for those tower dives. But it's a bold move because you don't want to get hit by Aatrox. You don't anticipate, is he going to heal a lot if he pops ult and starts wailing away at us? How much damage do we really have? So I think that it was more of the nerves as opposed to some pick that UCI had.
And in the end, the draft can only get you so far. It comes down to the objectives pushing you towards that victory. So particularly at 21 minutes, UCI had a great play with that Baron take.
Yeah, and I love this from UCI. They play a forcing line. They force Western to come to us. They say, okay, we're more comfortable around the Baron. We're better than you, and we're going to take this fight. They turn off beautifully on the left side, all going on the same target here. And watch as Western comes to contest. There's 2 on the left and 2 on the right. And when you're split like this, contesting an objective, you really have no hope of getting into the pit.
When you're playing collegiate, one of the most important objectives, not just collegiate, just flat out league, is Baron. Your ability to start Baron and bait your opponent to come into your pit that you have cleared out the vision is such a big play. And so UCI having veterans, I'm sure they feel confident starting a fight around Baron and being able to turn it back and forth. There never looked like there was a chance of a steal or a chance of a fight being in the favor of Western Ontario here. So I think that that is the veteran status of the players of UCI, their program being so tenured at this point that it's very easy for them to say, all right, we might not have gotten what we wanted out of the early game, but as long as we can go into the mid game and start a Baron fight, we're going to be good.
But Western did manage to keep it as a back and forth game, having that good look during that mid fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that Western, had great power picks in this series, and they definitely had chances. Like Crumbs was saying, the Akali is winning against Aatrox in the 1v1 almost the entire game. Silas was in a great port, and Caitlin was scaling as well. And it just felt to me that UCI was the more comfortable team around the neutrals, and they're more decisive as well. I think it was exemplified in their ability to turn off of that neutral so effectively, it really just left no counterplay.
I think that's one of the difficulties when you're playing a champion like Nocturne as well versus somebody like Lee Sin. As Nocturne, you're not providing anything without your ultimate. It's very difficult for you to get into a fight and really be valuable, whereas a Lee Sin can continue to fight, which is why we see a priority in the meta of these early game skirmish junglers that don't need level 6. They don't need their ultimates because they're always capable of fighting. It's all about fighting quickly, decisively. And if you have to say, hold on, guys, wait, give me a minute for my ultimate to be back up, then you're slowing everything down and things just don't go your way because you're having to be a little bit more reactive.
Well, the beauty of a best of 5 is when you see those moments of solace and pride for your team. And even if the end result didn't go in your favor, you can look back and carry that on through the rest, including what we saw in that mid performance, 5-2 going over to Western.
And this fight starts off with the bot lane fight transitioning into the lane. Now they're looking for the engage because you have the Akali and the Paranoia coming in, but then the Lee Sin gets to sneak in and the Zanya buys so much time that Gorica gets to delete 2 members and Vladimir gets to make it all the way from bottom lane into this battle. It's enough to do a lot of damage, but still Silas is alive and when you're 1v3, it just doesn't matter if you're Vladimir at that point. Like, you're just going to get taken out.
Yeah, and you saw Gorica on this Akali. He looks super comfortable on this champion. I was very impressed in this team fight and overall the game in general. He was pressuring very well, and I thought he even had chances to go for solo kills in that matchup. And next game, I think they need to lean on Gorica. He had a great game, and I could see him carrying the series.
I mean, you even asked him. We found out what his ranking
Yeah,
was.
he's peaked rank 50.
Yeah,
I think,
challenger
this
rank 50.
season.
That's pretty
Yeah.
impressive.
But then do you think that some of it was the aggression he was able to do with that Akali? Maybe if he's taken off of a pick like that, would he have the same impact?
Well, you know, Akali is certainly a powerful pick in this meta, but I'm assuming a player of his caliber has more picks that he can play, perhaps not as effective as Akali in team fights. And honestly, Akali should just be banned for the rest of the series. It's such a powerful flex pick. I don't know how you get Silas and Akali on the same draft, especially with a bot lane counter pick. So if I'm UCI, I'm lucky that I made it out of here live. I think they need to switch things up in draft going into game 2.
I think I wouldn't go that far, though. It's collegiate. You
Sure,
can't
sure.
expect the champions to be played to the fullest of their ability. So they're not going to get the most juice out of their squeezes. So I think that you can let them have as many champions as they want as long as you're playing your own game. We keep hearing these guys say the same thing over and over. We just got to play our own game. And that's because they don't have full access to the entire, almost 200 champions available. They have a selected few, and that warps the champions that they play, and that warps their play style significantly.
And play your own game, friends. Play your own game. We are taking a break, but when we return, it's game number 2 between Western and UCI, so don't touch that browser.
Bloodwater's about to fall as well, and Avi is not looking healthy, but they're now able to turn back onto Slasher. Here comes Gorica. Does he have the ability to assassinate the priority targets? Damage onto Slasher. Crowd control back onto the outfit. He gets him as he's 10 HP before going down. Gorica now looking healthy. Avi pulls back as it's the death coming in from Deskerton.